Hey guys, I've got another page in my Life Crafted album to share with you today using the brand new Life Crafted kit, the February Life Crafted kit from Citrus Twist. This kit is called Possibilities, which is totally perfect. It's a lovely, lovely kit. So I'm using it for the first time today and I really, really loved this 3x4 card. So that's what I'm basing my page off. I had a stressful couple of days, a couple of weeks back, and I did actually remember to sort of take a photo to document that. And that's what this page is going to be, kind of a little note to self that those times they pass, just give yourself the break that you need, and that's what I want to document with this kit here. So I've pulled out a couple of options for the 6x8 papers that I want to use, but before I get too carried away with that, I just want to go through the die cut ephemera pack, which again, as always, just absolutely stuffed full of die cuts, and I just find it easier to kind of separate the ones that are possibilities from the ones that I know I probably won't use. So that's what I've done. I'm definitely not going to use all of those die cuts, but at least it narrows down the choices for me before I start. In that die cut pack there were some really pretty florals which I thought worked really nicely with the floral paper, so I'm going to use that instead of the stripe. And the first thing I want to do is just trim it down so that it fits onto my Life Crafted paper. So here's my little hack for these albums. I love having these background papers just pre-cut, pre-punched, ready to go in my album. It just makes things a whole lot easier for me. You can see I'm using the back of this one, which was one that I mucked up the stamping on last week, and I just keep them in my album so that they're ready to go when I want to do a page. Even if I don't end up using the actual card for my page, it gives me a really handy guideline for cutting down pattern papers or that sort of thing, so it's just really handy having them in the album like that. I've trimmed down my pattern paper and I just lightly adhered it to the background, and then I ran it around my sewing machine just around the edges and just roughed those up a bit just to give a bit of texture. It's a great thing about these albums, you don't have to worry about keeping everything flat, so I'm going textured and I don't worry about like bulky embellishments or anything like that, so I love adding a little bit of texture into here. Now that I've got that background adhered down, I can be a bit more purposeful about where I'm going to place some of these die cuts. I really love these flowers and I just want to make it a really pretty, fun, soft page, and I think they work really nicely. I'm probably not even going to end up using too many more of those other embellishments just because I think the flowers work really nicely. I'm going to layer one on this left-hand page with my photo and that 3x4 card, and the other three flowers I'm going to create a couple of different clusters on the right-hand side there just to give me that visual triangle. Now I went to stick down my photo and then I realized I want to add just a little bit more texture in here, so I'm going to do some, it's not really repeat stamping, it's just kind of sort of ghost stamping in behind my photo here. So I grabbed one of the tiny word sentiments from the stamp set and just stamped that a few times. I just placed my photo back down just to make sure that some of those words are partially hidden and some of them you can see, so you can actually read what it says despite the fact that most of it is in behind the photo. Now speaking of dimension, I am going to add a little bit of dimension just to create a separate layer for this 3x4 card. I've just added some craft foam to the back of that. It's just going to raise it off the page a little bit and it just adds a little bit of separation from that photo. But before I stick it down, I decided to add a little bit of thread texture in here. I have got the stitching from my background piece from the pattern paper, so just adding a little bundled up piece of thread in behind the 3x4 card just brings in another texture. So I didn't worry about gluing that down because the double-sided tape from behind my foam is going to stick that one down there. I did really love this little die cut though, and I was desperate to make it work. Little crossed fingers, it will all be fine, which is the perfect sort of sentiment for this kind of thing. So I decided to add it to the little cluster of flowers down the bottom on the right hand side. And so to kind of balance that out, I'm adding one of the other die cuts, this little banner flag, to the top left up here as well. Now, I'm probably going things a little bit awkwardly here. I'm going to work on my clusters and then worry about the title later, which might not have been an ideal sort of situation, but that's what I'm going with. I have stuck down my little flowers and I'm going to repeat that same sort of texture on this side as well. So I'm adding this little bundle of thread behind this top flower, and I'm just trimming that off. I'm going to end up using that little offcut piece as well. I decided I could add that to the little cluster on the left just to bulk that out a little bit, and then I am going to do just a little bit of stitching. I'm not going to run the whole thing around. I just added a couple of lines of stitching to both of those flower die cuts, again just to tie the two pages together, and then before I stick this die cut on, I'm going to add the thread to the back of there as well. Now I am adding this one so that it hangs off the edge of the page, and because I've got that thread on there, I'm going to use some tape, double-sided tape rather than my tape runner, and then just trim off the bottom. I did just make sure that the whole of that sentiment was on there, but just trimmed off the bottom. And then again, to tie the two pages together, I'm doing that same technique with the sort of off stamping, just to create a little bit more texture, a little bit dimension to the two clusters that I've got here. The sentiments on the stamp set in the kit are really cute, and it's not all like best day ever kind of thing, which is what I loved about this kit. It's more realistic than that. We all have crap days, there's no point denying it, and I'm a firm believer that those sorts of things should be documented as well. There are these really cute little, they're almost like brush script hearts, they're sort of hand painted looking, and I'm going to add those in as well. Bit of self-love going on there. I'm adding 3, so I'm just adding to these, the visual triangle with these clusters. And then there are also some hearts in the puffy sticker set in the kit, so I decided to add those as well, just to sort of bulk out the kind of heart theme rather than just having 3 random hearts stuck on the flowers there. There are plenty of tiny little hearts on this stamp sheet, sticker sheet, sorry, so I am picking colours that match the scheme, so just reds and pinks and peaches. And now I have left the blank space on this right page. I'm going to do some stamping. I'm going to stamp my title in here. So this is the Spencer outline alphabet. It's one of my favorites. It's been out for a good while at Citrus Twist, and I use it all the time. So I'm keeping it simple and just stamping in black ink. I love that this is just an outline font. There is another set that's the solid, so you can use it to fill it in, but I didn't want the title to take up too much sort of visual space on the page, so I love the little outline one. And the other stamps that I'm going to use, it was released last month, so it is still in the shop. I'll leave links to all of these things down below in the description box. But this time I'm going to use the solid version of it. I love this little stamp set. It's like a teeny tiny miniature of the Spencer one, so they work perfectly together. My stamping could definitely have been straighter, but I'm just going with it. It's sort of, you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm just stamping out, take some time, which was the little note to myself, just to take a deep breath, work through it, and it'll come right in the end. One more stamp and that is my page all done. I just need to pop that into my album. Eventually I will glue it onto the back of the previous page to hide those little ends from the brads, but otherwise it's all done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple of videos on screen, or why not check out my Patreon page, there are even more videos over there. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye guys.